Hello everyone, this is the Great Pumpkin speaking and welcome to this new episode about Ogre Battle 64. Since last time we've gotten here to the Blue Basilica and gotten a bunch of weapons for our groups and will now be headed to Latium. In this episode I'll be showcasing another actual stage, one with quite many spoilers, so you know, you've been warned. What makes this stage just interesting is that it's actually quite like Tremas Mountain, which means that it's one of the few times where the enemies will be higher in level than us. So that's interesting. It's a fairly small battlefield, but a fairly huge one. Scene 31, March on the Capital. So yep, storytelling time. A little glitch there, still. Prince Yumil. There's Inkiset to the left, the father of Magnus. Hi Inkiset, who's that? This is my son, Magnus. Introduce yourself. Hey, wait for me. Hahaha. Hurry up, Yumil. Aww. That's what you get. Are you okay, Magnus? I'm fine. This is nothing. But you're bleeding. Don't worry, it doesn't hurt. You're so strong, Magnus. I want to be strong too. Yumil, no way. You're such a wuss, and you cry a lot too. Sorry, I kinda skipped that. I know, I've got a good idea. I'm gonna be a king when I grow up, so you can be my knight, Magnus. Me? A knight? So yep, going down memory lane, huh? Yeah, you'll be my knight. My prince, prepare to die. Yumil, watch out. Get out of my way, kid. Heh, Inkiset to the rescue. Magnus, are you okay? Magnus! They're all in the world of their own, other people don't matter. Yumil, I'm glad that you're safe. Thanks to you, Magnus. If you hadn't protected me... No, Yumil, it was my dad who saved you. I couldn't do anything. I hate myself. I'm useless. Aww. You're leaving tomorrow? Yeah. Why can't you stay here? Why the military academy? Why? God knows where my mother is, and I can't stand being around my father. I'm leaving. Yumil, I promise I'll make you proud. I have to learn to stand on my own, so I can protect both of us. after that, it's back to the planning. Magnus? What, Hugo? No, it's nothing. Let me tell you our current status. Those briefings got shorter and shorter as the game went on. Let's get started. As I said, really small battlefield. Latium in the north will be our base of operations. Our objectives are for Toy the Belt and Toy the Rich, both located a day south of Latina. Our goal is to liberate both forts and make our way to Winea. Our intelligence reports that huge number of troops are marching on our headquarters. They'll be here soon. They expect this to be the final confrontation. We should prepare ourselves. This isn't actually the last stage in the game, but it's going to be a big one. We must direct this battle swiftly and concisely if we're going to win this one. So yeah, it's actually the only time in the game where you actually need to conquer 2 castles to win. I don't know what happened to Prince Humil, but we must face reality. Are you ready, Magnus? I can't believe Humil would do such a thing. I believe in him. Magnus, what are you saying? Don't worry, Hugo. I believe in Humil. That's why I could resolve myself to this. Even if he stands in my way, I won't stop fighting. I can't lose to them, no matter what. For this kingdom's freedom, for this world that Humil loved. This game has the very Roman or Greek feel or something. A lot of the storyline is about Magnus' friendship with Humil, among other things. Or at least the backstory. Mostly he's just pitting a bunch of soldiers against one another. Still, you know. So now we start off and we've got 2 legions headed on us right off the bat. So that's gonna be a tiny bit difficult. Right now the characters that need experience are actually Magnus and Taylor. So we'll be starting with those. I'll actually be redoing the stage at some point, so it doesn't really matter. Still, we'll try to do this right if we can. Oh, and there's a 3rd legion down there. Oh my! We'll try to do something about that. Who's gonna be on guard duty? That's not an easy choice. I think Kasha will be good for that. Well, let's go! So yeah. Mostly small legions, but that one, the number 1 is pretty huge. Okay. Let's move Mary a tiny bit back so we can handle this thing. Magnus is gonna stay where he is, so will Taylor, so we can actually get him up front. Let's do this! We're started off against the Freya, Jody. Jody is an Apicus, a griffin with a Freya. How about that? See? 82 damage from Magnus. That's actually the highest of any character I have. Except those that actually uses greatswords. Although that's fairly rare that they do better than that. As you can see, Magnus... no. I meant that the enemy Freya had really great dexterity and kept blocking all of our attacks. It's actually pretty darn good. Like those guys there. Well, also very rarely see an Apicus deal so much damage, although I suppose our formation isn't all that great for this. Still, our Valkyrie, our Freya's actually doing pretty darn well, so that's good. Unfortunately, Magnus has lost. This is no good for us. Hopefully there won't be any more flying units, so Mary can actually do something about this. Let's use the heal pack and go back. Magnus will probably help with the cleanup of Legion number 2, the way he's arranged. And we'll move Henderson up ahead to go assist Mary. Let's go. Oh, I've actually targeted the wrong Legion. Oh well. So, a Black Knight with 2 Ogres. Ogres can actually be used in your groups. Unfortunately, we haven't reached a stage yet where you can get them. You can also get them through Love and Peace, although the early points in the game where you can actually get them, well, they're a little difficult to get Love and Peace. Fortunately, they've got a strategy that makes them hit everybody in the center, which means that we will actually lose that Raven up front, and I don't want that happening. So we'll retreat for now. You know, if you're outmatched, just take your time, retreat and keep going. I've got enough group to manage a proper defense, so this shouldn't be an issue. Well, actually, there's only one guy that needs healing. Maybe that's Seraph to the left, but I don't care about it. Okay, so let's get Magnus to attack Legion number 2. Go for Nikita. Unfortunately, Taylor has encountered another Siren. Siren with an Ogre and 2 Goblins. The Goblins, I think, are using the Stone Sword. A fairly good defensive sword for the most part. It adds 1 point of vitality every level up, if I'm not mistaken. That Ogre has a little more trouble hitting everybody, mostly because he has no elemental weapon. Still, you can see the Raven does slightly better, although these enemies are actually weak to the holy elements, so our Seraphs are kinda doing better than he is. As you can see, dexterity there. My Raven actually managed to block 2 attacks. That happens quite a lot with creatures from the Hawkman line. I'd kinda like for Taylor to retreat, give other units the chance to shine. Okay, Mary's gonna do her thing, Magnus will do so as well. So stages other chaos. So we've got 2 gremlins up front, not that good, although it's a group that will be much better once it has no leader. We'll reduce our power a bit, which will make it harder to hit them up in the middle. Still, that Archmage isn't long for this world. Not a very strong attack for Swordmasters, unfortunately. At least they do it twice in this game, still not worth it. Samurais with Ianuki were better in the original version of the game, being March of the Black Queen, which I've showcased before. See that? Everybody are missing him, and yet Magnus is making it. Damn. This is actually a fairly crucial stage for my army, because I will actually get 2 units that I've been needing for a while. And those units have been pushed right into Mary. That is not the group I've faced, so how did they get there? Well, that's right, they've attempted to reform the Legion somewhere. That is what happened. So, absolutely perfect formation on the part of the enemy for my Azidakas. This group isn't very long for this world, unfortunately. Did pretty good though with just an evil sword. Was that an evil sword? No, that's something else. So yeah, full level for our guys. Cool. Oh, they were in that Legion. Oops. I didn't want that. I'm gonna lose my leader. Or not. I could be fine. Gremlins are also immune to the Azidakas. I'm assuming the computer did that on purpose. We can use the field pause button to actually give us a breather once this is done. This group is mostly spam. Still, it's a good way to gauge the power of each separate dragons. One of the things I'd like to try at some point is something with, for instance, 2 Hydras in this group. Sleep isn't such a great status, not nearly as good as Paralyze or Power Down. Still, it's fairly powerful. Okay. Anderson has encountered an Archmage, which is a group fairly similar to the one of Bento, although quite weaker. And we've got to combo Thunderflare. That's pretty rare. Wonder what kind of combo magic they could pull off. Usually the computer doesn't try to set up combo magic much. They just reuse the same one over and over. Well, ones that aren't compatible elementally, I should say. I would lose a Linja if I didn't retreat, so I'm gonna do that. You don't lose any experience from running. And especially if you use Attack Leader like I do, well, this makes things a lot easier. Okay, Magnus has met the leader of the other legion, which consists of a front row flare brass. Not such a good move. A bunch of soldiers and a female centurion. Centurions are really hard class to get, although they are fairly good. So, Centurions, to get them, you actually need to raise 10 soldiers into fighters or Amazon, depending on his actual gender. Although the actual gender for the class transformation doesn't matter. And this means that only special characters and Centurions can actually lead a legion. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video, but Legion actually get much better, how can I say, tactical movement than a unit on its own. I read about it on the internet. It sounded actually pretty darn nice, although Legions are fairly unoptimal configurations in this game. It was just kind of a gimmick. And in this group we encounter our first Sphinx, which will completely destroy me. It's that weird thing with lady bits to the left. Sphinx are pretty darn powerful. They basically throw off a Dark Quest, which is pretty much the equivalent of a combo magic of a Siren or an Archmage using Dark Quest. So that makes it pretty darn powerful. And is actually the unit that I want to get with those Seraphs of mine. So yeah, once this stage is over, we'll actually be able to do that. I was kind of hoping that at some point that they would put Sphinx earlier in the game, but they never did. They kind of came up with this where they were looking for new challenges toward the end of the game. And because there weren't that many beasts that were good, to be honest. So, that is taken care of. Kind of want to send out Benedict and Bento. So, Magnus has done his part. He can return, as will Mary. Taylor can stay there and deal with damaged units. Anderson will probably slip past and go deal with other things. So, now it's up to Benedict's group against this female Centurion. I got new dolls for those characters, like this one in the middle, which is the Doll of Curse, which automatically, or at least, well, actually yes, it actually paralyzes the character it hit, so that makes it pretty good, while also being Bane elementally expected. We've also got the Eliaflail, the doll to the right, which is a Holy Elemental doll, which is actually stronger than the Heavens doll. This means that we've basically got all the dolls that we can pretty much get inside the game, or at least the strongest ones. So that's pretty good. So, let's go after Doris. And we'll send Anderson against that Diana over here. Okay, an Hydra and 2 fairies on the back. That won't do them much good, and especially usually you would want a Dragon Master with that Hydra. Not that front row dragons are any good. They're much more powerful in the back. Those sportive attack are doing absolutely nothing at this point. If it was powerful enough to make a difference, it might actually make Legion somewhat worthwhile. Or at least make the enemies at least mildly challenging. So let's go. Tiana, 2 gremlins in the back, which won't be good for my dragon, although with this formation I might have a shot. And we've got 2 goblins up front, which won't do them any good. Huh. Against that enchanter in the middle, that's really good for me. The Goblin doll has gotten much more powerful as Magnus got up in level, if I'm not mistaken. The stats on it are pretty darn amazing. Maybe I'll show them before we're done. But they are 126 on a crit with that doll. That's pretty darn impressive. Did I use a Pedra in this game? I don't think I did. Let's try to use the Pedra of Virtue. Now that Magnus is high up in level, that's actually pretty good. This thing is actually supposed to be a flying squirrel. It usually deals more damage than that, although it seems this guy is pretty resistant. It's kinda nice, like he already knows that the other gremlin is gonna die, so he kind of veers his doll to the other enemy. They kind of make him attack at the same time too sometimes, so that's actually pretty darn neat. That's another mechanic I would have liked to see more of, like those soldiers they're joining together for a stronger melee attack. Combo magics are cool, but this would have been nice too. So we've got the front row Hydra with soldiers and a male Centurion. At some point I'd kind of like to try out a number of team armies, things like that, like, you know, a Legion army with a bunch of Centurions leading and using things like Cataphracts and Dianas. Or things like, I don't know, a Viking army with tons of berserkers and such things. That could be interesting. Still, after one playthrough, I think I'm gonna take a break a bit. So, we've pretty much crushed their offensive, which means the rest of the stage should be cake. Let's have a look at the actual level of the enemies that we have right now. Most of my guys are about level 28. They are level 31 with a leader that is level 32. Demons are sometimes around level 32 if I'm not mistaken, so that's actually pretty darn impressive. We'll be going after Jaeger. Bento is gonna finish up this group here, and Taylor is gonna go hunt. After Jody, why not? Usually in this stage you wanna kind of be careful to ensure that you get the maximum amount of good magic items, which is kind of how I got those dolls over there, so that's actually pretty good. So an item, a snow orb. That's not really good, but it should help us out some. We've accidentally captured the city, so let's go see what people say. Welcome to Latium. Maybe it was fate that brought you here and that brought war on us. I'm powerless to change anything. I'll be counting on you. Good luck! A lot of locals actually seems to feel that way. They rely on their revolutionary army to take care of all their problems as far as war go. I'm guessing that that all people have the conviction to do something about their state. So this group, bunch of knights, archers, nothing too special. Might be dangerous for my ninja though. One to the left is a little open. Fun thing about ninjas is that you actually get to see the various array of effect elemental magics without actually, well, without them actually being combo magics, if you will. And I'm gonna flee for now because I'm gonna get destroyed. Well, my ninja will. Kinda looking forward to having finished this stage. Not only is it fairly fun, but it will also open up a number of areas on my low chaos frame playthrough, so this will allow me to power up my army quite a bit with magic items. That's a lot of people, isn't it? So, Bento, clean up those ogres. Lava shot. Managed to avoid it. That's pretty darn awesome. And Plasma Storm. Hopefully we'll get paralyzed. Guess he wasn't close enough, was he? Not necessarily a bad thing that I wasn't able to do the bit where you can actually use 4 times combo magics. Still, with this lava shot up front, I actually have a better shot at hitting enemies who are on the corner. So that actually served me well in that fight. We got a Stone of Quickness. This actually upgrades dexterity if I'm not mistaken. So as you see now, this is mostly cleanup phase. These guys shouldn't have much chance against my enchanters. I really do like that unit. I'm liking them more and more the more I use them. Although it's mostly the strong elemental dolls toward the end, I do not recommend making an entire army with those guys. Here's the thing. What's fun about this game, and also the fact that equipment is limited, is that force you to add variety to your army. Technically, you could make an entire army with, for example, 3 paladins up front and, I don't know, 2 sirens or archmage up back, but that would be kind of boring. So by switching around equipments, you can actually benefit by using the items that are strong, but also see a lot of various combos that you can use in your army. So that's cool. I like that. Nah, Bento will be fine with those guys. Let's send Taylor over there. That Dionyse up front, that Cerberus is totally gonna eat her. Wow, 106, that's pretty good. Surprised he's not casting Dark Quest all the time, actually. Seems it depends on the actual elemental. Maybe some actually have lower Bane resistance. Who knows? You actually can't see what's the actual equipment that the enemy has, although you can kind of guess by looking at their weapons, but not for the defensive ones. For instance, I don't know, that knight might have had things that made him vulnerable to Bane. Anderson did alright. And we got a bloodstained armor, which should help us quite a bit soon. We got this. Now we've got a bunch of bloodstained robes and a bloodstained armor to boot. Oh, nice. Send Magnus over there to capture that stronghold. And we've got this thing is way down there. How am I gonna deal with that? I think I'm gonna send Kate all the way down there to take care of it. captured Volga. And what's in Volga? The Imperial Knights are protecting Wienia. Well, not really the kingdom, just the royal family. Yeah, that's kind of the point of this entire game. Some kind of struggle between what they call the lower class and the upper class. Being that the upper class being the nobles and the regular people who actually toils. This is all part of demands from the Holy Lotus Empire to implement a class system, basically. And this is what the people in Palatinus are actually rebelling about. This group has changed a bit. Our paladin up front is using the... Was it the adamant katana? It was. Then what was that goblin using? Anyway, we've got that archer in the middle who now uses the thunderbow, which is actually pretty good. That is why I replaced the Yetival. Usually I would want them to keep them, so I've got something to fight undeads with, but that weapon was just too powerful not to use. Well, too powerful. That's a big word. So, Cornelia has dealt with her thing. She can go deal with this guy over here. Magnus has captured Gaeta. Neutral cities are always captured and never liberated. The royal family has acquired great power, but it's worthless if it can protect their people. That is kind of why we are seeing so many ogres, gremlins, and goblins. They are demons, and the royal family has actually been using demon power as of recently. So there, you can actually get Ice Blade in this shop, which is pretty rare thing. Although why you would need them is beyond me. The Peregrine Mail, though, is an actually really good thing, as are the Naga Rings that they sell here and the Fangs of Firedrake. That will improve my enchanters quite a bit. And there we go. Taylor lost sight of the enemy, which is pretty bad. He's gonna camp for now. Let's go. Bento is up against two Swordmasters. Hoping you're not hearing that, it's being loud outside and my window is open. That is what happens during the summer. You need to get your AC running sometimes. Okay, good. It leaves just those two over there. I do rely fairly heavily on consumables. At some point I should try to just do a game where I'm not allowed to use any consumables or priests. That would be interesting. Although not so much for you guys, it would mostly be painful for me. Yep, they're using those things so they don't have to camp. That's actually really annoying. So here we've got the Palace of Wienia, which we're gonna do a siege of after that, although you won't see it on screen, and those two forts that we need to take over here. The bosses will look something like this, which is a level 33 paladin with 2 Dianas and 2 Swordmasters, oh my. And 2 Freyas and 2 Cataphracts with a paladin. That is not what I expected, so how the heck am I gonna get another Angel Knight? And are there any? This might just be in the High Chaos Frame playthrough. That kinda broke my strategy there. Oh well, I'll figure something out. Paladins can use magic in the back row, although much like Black Knights, they're not really good at it. Dianas have a fairly good chance of hitting things like gremlins or fairies, so with their high dexterity, they're fairly desirable as a unit. And a Blood Whip. A Bane-aspected whip for our Beastmasters. Or was that one physical? I kind of forgot. If you take the high-level combo magic version of Lava Shot, you actually get a freaking volcano to show up. That's actually pretty cool. There we are, another bow of Thunderbolt. Oh, he's full, huh? I guess he rested somewhat. Although that's also mean that lady is gonna try to capture that city. Or not. Let's go to that location and avoid the boss for the time being. And we found a rune plate. Really good stuff. Oh yeah, that Sphinx. That's not gonna be any good for my Diana's out back, although they use it less on the front row if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, they actually use their claws, that's right. And they're pretty bad at it too. There we go. We got a sword emblem which increases strength. So, who's gonna be dealing with the boss? Thinking Kesha for the left one. And we may have Taylor take the right one. Why not? This feels a bit shorter than Tree Moss Mountain, I gotta admit. Huh. Trying to attack us. Good luck on this guy. Oh, he attacked Cornelia, did he? And we've got, what was the name of that thing? A Tiamat and a Black Dragon, that's right. Tiamat looks really weird in this game, although I gotta admit it wasn't that pretty in the regular game, so I suppose it's fairly similar. Use the same move that Prince Garrus used in the regular one, although put with Nintendo 64 graphics for the Bane. Yeah, Evil Dead, that's it. Can also put your characters to sleep, although it doesn't seem as likely as it is for the Hydra, although I might be getting this wrong. Well, that will change our plan somewhat. I'm starting to think that Kate will be going against the boss and try to get 2 knocks in time if we can. Cornelia is gonna go take the city of Gotchpsi or whatever its name. See? Not much to do with Griffin in the front row, which is a bit annoying. Can't wait to be rid of those back row Ravens. It's a total waste of your good units. Alright. Brionac. A good evil spear, if I remember correctly. Okay. Won't be much use with Pumpkinheads against this guy, still they'll do better against the boss. Our archer in the back uses the bow of Thunderbolt, and the Siren actually used the Foes gear, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty much the strongest staff in the game, if I'm not mistaken. So that's actually pretty darn good. She's the one that I've built the most so that she can do the most damage. We also got the Dagda hammer, which is a Bane aspected 2-handed hammer if I'm not mistaken. So our intelligence at the moment is 225. which is pretty darn high. Although she seems to be doing somewhat more damage than the group of Bento, namely because she has slightly better equipment, as I said. Although that Archmage actually has better intelligence than she does, so do those. For some reason, my Archmages ended up with more hint than my Sirens did, despite the fact that they trained as witches. And the reason for that is the Bloodstained Rogue, which adds one more intelligence per level. So there. Sounded kind of confused about that earlier. Oh well. Let's swap our tactic to attack leader. Alright. Right in front of the city, of course. Okay, 3 hours enough. We succeeded in liberating God PC. To save this land from Lodis, the progenitor has returned. We are the chosen ones. We will be saved. Don't interfere with the return of the legend. This guy is supposed to be a noble of sort. One of the special things that they did with this game is that they actually managed to showcase ethnicity quite a bit. Like for instance, the Indigans, much like Magnus, tends to have blue hair and use that little thing that he has wrapped over his shoulder, whereas the Oryx, which are like that noble that we saw, usually have blonde hair and so on. That's an interesting thing to showcase. And honestly, the Ogre Battles series have often talked about things like ethnicity and such. Tactic Ogre is basically all about ethnic genocide, so there. They were an interesting series. At some point they got bought by Square Enix and they never really did anything with it, with the exception of the re-release of the Tactics Ogre remake. Well, more like an enhanced version of sort. So, got that paladin. I disgrace the Palatinian Order if I lose to you. We can't afford to back away. For the divine plan. That is what we are trying to stop at the moment. Apparently the Chosen One, which is ruling at the capital, is attempting to carry out some sort of divine plan. As you can see, it doesn't matter how many health you've got, pumpkin heads are gonna get rid of you. And there. Boom. Glory be to Palatinus, my lord. The boss you encounter here actually changed depending on whether you go to liberate the countryside around or actually attack the castle directly. So yeah, although in this particular case you can actually only capture one of the two forts before the level is over. Let's see what they say over here. Revolutionary Army Soldier, Blue Knights will stay there. Please liberate Toy the Belt. There was a time where the Revolutionary Army was mostly composed of bandits and peasants. Now they've gotten really strong with things like Knights, Paladins, and those things. They've really branched out. Captain Viselus. In the name of the Palatinian Order, I will not let you continue. For the divine plan, for the future of Palatinus. These guys are fairly zealous. And with that cataphract up front, this will be difficult to get through. Although thankfully I have plenty of elemental weapons, so that won't be a problem. And with that pumpkin shower, they shouldn't last very long. Hopefully. Although the way things are looking, I don't think I'll be able to get through those guys. You see, it's all about the dexterity. Cataphracts have really bad dexterity, which means that they have a tendency to get blocked, which isn't the case for things like Freya's. We may be able to get through them. Though that's a big if, I gotta admit. Freya's can make half-decent caster in the back row, although, you know, it's the thing, and Sirens are so powerful that there's not really much point to it. The only thing besides Sirens and Archmage that are really good in the back row, honestly, are Sphinxes. Also Dianas, of course, but they're not casters. My lord, bring peace to this land. And just like that, we won. And we got the Black Cat Claw. Totally pointless treasure, but whatever. What is this divine plan about? Tell me! The coming of the next progenitor, the legendary Forbidden Spell. We will use the Forbidden Spell. We will crush you and Lodis. There's no way out. The evil will perish, and peace will once again be brought to this land. Just like the legend, it is the revival of the legend by the Chosen. Almost. It's almost ready. But why? Why do you? So yeah, that's it. The next step would be, of course, of going on the siege against the Winia castle, but unfortunately you won't be seeing that on screen. So, before we leave, let's have a look at that Magnus doll that I told you about. So the Galen doll here, if we look at our various equipments for this guy, the Galen doll compared for instance with the, I don't know, let's take the full just to be sure. So yeah, that's a pretty big difference. A lot of stats are being held as high as 6 or 7, which is a pretty big difference. If we look at the Doll of Curse, we have only a little bit of strength more. This adds a bit to everything. That's actually really good. So yeah. You can also have a look at the various classes that I've unlocked here, which are all playable as far as we're concerned. I'm probably missing a couple, like for instance the Dragoon, who is limited to only 1. But still, we have quite a bit of things we could do, and I have the potential to get as much as 10 liches, which is quite a bit. So as you can see, there's a lot of diversity to be had in this game if you're willing to invest in them. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the time being. Thank you for watching, everyone. This was Great Pumpkin. You all have a pleasant time now. Bye bye!